What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers drop an absolute egg tonight, and this team has yet to put together 2 games in a row where they play good basketball. It seems like this is the early theme so far this season, as it has been in past years. One good game from the Blazers and then an absolute letdown in the next matchup. The Blazers got clowned tonight. They gave up 137 points to a Golden State Warriors team that was hopeless offensively before this game this season. They let Steph Curry, the one guy they had to stop, the one guy they had to game plan against, they let him go off for 62 points without making a single adjustment. So that is basically the game tonight. The Blazers did score 122 points, not a bad scoring output, especially considering CJ and Dame didn't have the most efficient nights. Enes Kanter stepped up and was huge on the offensive end, but he was probably just as bad on the defensive end. He probably gave up just as many points as he put on the board. The defense was an absolute major issue tonight. The Warriors go from scoring 98 points in the first game against the Blazers to 137 points in the second game. Steph Curry had some great shots that we played decent defense on, but there was a lot of plays where he got open shots, where he's coming off a screen, stepping into threes, where, we had Enes Kanter trying to help out with screens, and Steph Curry just blew by him. And there is just not a single adjustment to make Stephen Curry uncomfortable all night long. Steph Curry was in a comfort zone. We didn't throw a trap at him. We didn't hedge. We didn't really do anything. And this has me extremely worried. We'll get into that talking point because I thought it was ridiculous, the fact that we didn't make a single adjustment when a dude is going off like Steph Curry is, and we didn't do anything to get the ball off his hands, especially considering his teammates. You got Draymond Green, who's a train wreck from a scoring standpoint. You got Kelly Oubre, who's been historically bad from the three-point line, and he's been awful offensively. Andrew Wiggins isn't the best offensive player. He's inefficient. You have all these players next to Steph Curry who aren't really, I wouldn't say they're good offensive players, but you let him go off for 62 points. That is a major issue, and that is pretty ridiculous to me. I thought this entire game was ridiculous, and we'll get into all the reasons why. So thank you for tuning in. This is obviously going to be a little bit different than the last post-game show because this was a completely different game. So that was frustrating. So
even Portlandia's upset. Look at that.
I mean, here's the thing, man. How do you not make an adjustment all game long? It just baffles me. And here's what I'm feeling. I feel like Terry Stotts was kind of on board with like, okay, we're gonna do different stuff and try and run different schemes, and we'll still run some drop here and there, but we're gonna try and be more adaptable defensively. He has officially, in my mind, completely given up on coaching defense because they run one scheme and they don't adjust it. It's just like last year. And everything Olshey said for, okay, some of the things we got to fix schematically, where's the adjustments? Where are those other schemes? Where are those other coverages? The perfect time to switch things up is when you're getting absolutely dominated by the one guy you have to stop. And, some of it was who we had in the game. We played Enes Kanter. He only played 24 minutes tonight. Carmelo Anthony played 27 minutes, but you can't pair those two guys in the front court together. Like, both of those guys need a little bit of help. Carmelo was fine defensively today, but he's not a good enough defender to help out Kanter, and Kanter was awful. So some of it was who we had in the game, but that's a coaching decision, I know Derrick Jones Jr. had some foul trouble that limited his minutes, but Robert Covington played 27 minutes tonight. He's a really solid defender. I know he wasn't providing much offensively, but defense was the issue tonight. Shout out RT Shaggy Squid for the $10 Australian donation. He says, loss is completely on Stotts. Kanter gets abused after watching him get abused last game. No Giles, Melo, and Kanter on the floor together, let alone the first half abused to put them back out there. Yeah, I mean, we saw Kanter get abused in the first game, and then he gets abused in the second game. I know he was good offensively, but when we're down, you got to get stops to come back, right? You got to stop them from scoring. You can't just match buckets.
Oh, you can't?
Nah. I mean, trading 2 for 2s doesn't get you anywhere. If you're down, you got to come back. Bro, I'm just so baffled. Like, Curry is just unexplainable to me. And I'll get your thoughts on this. I just want to rant for a second. Curry is going off when we're dropping the big. There's no help on the screens on Curry. We were trying to do, we gave up a good fight trying to get through screens, but without help and against a guy like Curry, you need some help with these screens. So we're dropping the big, and he's going off, and we're down, and Cantor is hopeless. Why don't you give Giles some run? He can provide a spark. He can play some defense. He can get up and help with the screens. Put in Giles and just start trapping him. Maybe you force a couple turnovers, get a couple quick buckets, and change the momentum. Make Steph Curry uncomfortable. Get quick buckets, which is what you need to get back in a game. Like, it's just such an obvious decision to me. And instead, we do the same thing that was getting us killed all game long. And guess what? It still didn't work. And I don't know. It's just baffling to me. I don't understand the lack of adjustability, but this has always been one of my major critiques of the coaching staff. You saw it against the Clippers. We were getting destroyed. Our defense was getting destroyed. Not a single adjustment. This last game, the first game against the Warriors, our defense was doing fine. Like, if our defense is doing well, you don't have to adjust anything if it's working. But if it's not working, just change something up. Like, it's so ridiculous how we try and do the same thing that isn't working, but we're just content with throwing it back out there. Like, okay, hopefully it will work this quarter. Oh, it didn't work that quarter. Okay, maybe the next quarter. Yeah. Make a dang adjustment. That's what coaching is in the NBA. It's adjusting is coaching situational basketball. And there's not a single adjustment all game long, and it pisses me off. If we adjust and Steph Curry hits a bunch of crazy threes while we're adjusting and at least trying something different and it still doesn't work, fine. At least we tried. But we don't even try to do anything different. We don't even try to adjust. And it's just extremely frustrating to me when we don't change anything up when we're absolutely getting destroyed on the defensive end, because there's no explanation for it.
Yeah, and once again, if you want to say, hey, we were trying new things tonight, it didn't work out in this game, but it'll help pay dividends down the road when we get used to playing a different scheme. That's complete bullcrap if anyone says this was anything about our personnel or our, just adapting to new players or people not knowing the new system yet or know the new defense. We didn't do anything different than we have been doing this year. And that's the frustrating part. Like, Stotts gets exposed in the playoffs, and he gets exposed in games like this where it's back-to-back games. You knew the Warriors weren't going to just do the same things they did last game. You knew they were going to change things up. And what do? We come out, we're like, oh, we killed them last game, so we just have to roll out there and we'll kill them again. Like, this is easy. Like, we're going to go on a big win streak. Like, we were like that, too, after the last game, right? Mm-hmm. Thinking it was going to be easy, you know?
With this team, I don't think that way, you know?
No,
I was hopeful, but
I'm done thinking that way, man. As long as Stotts is our coach, we will never be consistent enough. We will never make enough adjustments. It is absolutely, this game was 100% coaching, and I mean, I just don't even know what to say. I don't even want to rant because it's like I'm so like disappointed, and like it wasn't even because he was trying to do stuff different. We didn't pass the ball at all. We had like 5 assists at halftime. We're losing, you know, double digits. It's like, where's the ball movement? Where's the movement off ball and offense? I actually charted all of Melo's post-ups. We'll get to that later. And then where's the pressure on defense? Where's the, like, why do you allow Curry to come off a screen cleanly anytime during a game? Like, if we were playing Damian Lillard, he would have had 140 points tonight off that defense. Like, he never gets those kind of good looks, and Dame hits some insane shots, right? But, like, seriously, Steph Curry, you cannot let him come clean because he's too good at driving. Yeah. He's too good at finishing. And, like, what are you doing? Like, oh, we're going to make sure we stay home on Kelly Oubre, who's shooting, like, 4% from 3 on the season. Like, that's our defense, is to stay home on their great shooters who haven't even hit, like, a freaking 3 the entire season, but we're going to make sure we stay home on them so that they don't go off on us, you know, because Lord knows we shouldn't give Oubre an open 3 when he's shooting 4%. Like, why would you want to do that?
I mean, dude, yeah, bro, nobody had help defending Curry, dude. So many times, like, guys were just on an island, right? And Gary Trent Jr. played some good one-on-one defense, but, like, Curry was going off, partly because of the way we were guarding his pick and roll and because he could get going that way. Like, send a double. Even if it's not a screen, just send a double. The dude is on fire and everybody else can't hit anything. Like, do something different. You know, we run that double against James Harden last year. It's like, go run that for Steph, man. You know, he's shorter than James Harden. It might be even harder for him to play out of that. You know what I mean? When he's gotten that type of defense played against him in the past, year, I mean, it's only been like 15 games that he's played because, he got hurt last year. But when he's, in the past 2 years, when he's dealt with a heavy trapping defense that Dame sees all the time, right? When he's dealt with a heavy trapping defense, he struggles against it. So if he's going off against a drop scheme, try to, I want to cuss so bad. Try to trap or something, dude. It's mind-boggling to me. It just doesn't make any sense. How nice would it be if we could just say, okay, well, Dame, dribble the ball down the court, Nurkic, come set a screen on him, and Dame, you'll be able to get a wide open three at the three-point line just by dribbling off that screen because they're dropping the big and they don't want to help with the screen. Dame goes off for 60 points against that type of stuff. That's how Dallas guarded him in the bubble last year. Like, every time a team consistently drops against Dame, he goes off. But the thing is, how often does a team consistently run drop pick and roll against Dame? Sometimes teams start out in it, but guess what? If Dame starts going off against it, coaches adjust, because that is a big factor of your job, is adjusting. And Stotts just does not adjust whatsoever, and it's ridiculous, and it pisses me off. It would be so nice to be able to run Dame off screens and get him wide open threes. But, teams don't let that happen all game long like we do. On the other end, dang, it's really tough on Dame when he gets trapped like this, Trap Steph like that. They have worse playmakers than we do. They have worse passers than we do, Like, Draymond, you don't even got to guard him at the three-point line. He's basically non-existent from three now. He's really regressed. Oubre's shooting 4%. James Wiseman isn't a Nurkic type of big who can pass at all. Like, I mean, maybe he adds that to his game, but he's a rookie. Like, he doesn't know how to make those reads yet at the NBA level. You got Andrew Wiggins, who's just a black hole. Like, dude, just throw an extra body at him. Throw some help on him. Like, the fact that he doesn't do that is absolutely ridiculous to me, and it's inexcusable. It's so obvious, but yet Stotts doesn't see it. I don't know if he doesn't see it or if he's just so uncomfortable with adjusting that he doesn't want to do it. I mean, you look at his comments before the season when he talked about, it's really hard to switch things up because our scheme worked a couple years ago. We were like a borderline top 10 defense. The NBA is getting better and better at exploiting drop scheme. Players are getting better and better shooting off of screens and shooting with range, right? And stretching that pick and roll out, which hurts drop scheme, right? So the NBA is changing, and the NBA is getting better and better at exploiting it, and Stotts isn't changing, and Stotts just doesn't want to switch that up. And he basically said it was like pulling teeth to even try and get the team to run anything different. And then he coaches like it's pulling teeth to get the team to adjust defensively at all. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. The lack of adjustability is ridiculous. Like, even with the pressure that Olshey's put on him, we're back to, we're running drop scheme, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They just hit shots, right? Without a single adjustment, and it's ridiculous. Before you respond,
Kyle Wilson at $2 dono says Stotts is a Laker mole hijacking the Blazers. Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but it's funny.
Necron99, says we can't play defense. He spelled it with a K, so I know what that's a reference to. My first time back here. I'll try again next year, guys. JK. Yeah, you're either on this roller coaster or you're not, because that's exactly what it is. It's a roller coaster, right? And I don't like roller coasters. I'd rather just a nice steady stream of good basketball and a nice steady stream on YouTube where we don't have to rant. But, no, it's a roller coaster ride. But appreciate the donations, guys. Shout out Jason Lee for the $2 donation. He says, O'Shea better be breathing down Stotts' neck. Yeah, I just don't... O'Shea talked about how they want to switch up schemes, and it's like we're already 6 games in. I'm already just hopeless in that regard. And sometimes our defense will work, running to the way we're doing it. It's just, like, don't let good games where we have really good defense fool you. Because sometimes we can run the scheme that Stotts loves and it'll work, right? But the problem is, especially when you face a team twice in a row, and this kind of like goes to the playoffs, but it also applies to this back-to-back. When you face a team multiple times in a row, they're going to adjust if your defense works. You have to be able to adjust your defense if they adapt to it. It's a game of adjustments, and the lack of adjustability is why I've always been down on Stotts in terms of him being a playoff coach. How you don't adjust this game at all is just ridiculous to me.
But that's like if we played Houston in the playoffs and we ran that different defense, right? We would just keep running that the whole series, regardless of what adjustments they make to it. And if it starts burning them, Stotts would just keep running it because that's all he knows how to do is run one defensive system, set up one defensive game plan before the game, and he doesn't know how to change it within the game or do anything different other than that. So, like, it's weird that we do run a different defense against Houston, but like I said, you have to be able to change that. Like, you can't run one defense. Like, it does not work, especially when you get to the playoffs. You cannot run one defense. You have to have a different defensive game plan every single game and against different players within the same game. If we're sitting here talking about how Wiggins and Oubre finally showed up tonight and they each had 30 points, they both hit like 5 threes or whatever, but we like shut down, like we sold out to stop Curry, and that was our game plan. I would have totally understood that, and it would have been like, okay, so at least we adjusted to trying to limit Curry, knowing that he's been their only offensive weapon so far this season. Yeah. So, like, at least we tried to take him out of the game. That was our game plan. I can totally see it. That's fine. But, like, what was our game plan this game? To just let Steph Curry do whatever he wants? Because that's honestly what it looked like to me. Like, that's the first play of the game. It was their second offensive possession. Their first offensive possession, he didn't go through the pick and roll. But the first pick and roll he went through on the second possession, we dropped coverage, and of course he hits a three. And it's just like, okay, is that how it's going to be this game? Like,
yeah, I mean, we helped on Curry less this game than we did last game. But generally, like, last game, like, I don't know, it wasn't a drastic difference from this game, and last game it worked. So I understand, like, going into this game, okay, we're going to try and do what we did last game. Like, I understand maybe that kind of thinking, but when it's obviously not going like last game, and they're absolutely crushing us, that's when you adjust. There should have been an adjustment after the first quarter. After the first quarter, there should have been an adjustment. And nope. And then at halftime, there should have definitely been an adjustment. And I tweeted out, I said, well, let's see if Stotts adjusts this half. Probably not. Like, I have no confidence in him ever adjusting.
I mean, like, the whole fourth quarter, Curry's coming off that pick cleanly. Like, if we made an adjustment and we're, like, maybe, like, double teaming him, and then, like I said, someone else starts hitting shots or whatever and gets going, at least we tried to take him out when he has, like, 44 points through 3 quarters or whatever it was. Like, at least we were like, okay, it's the fourth quarter. If we're going to make a comeback, we have to do something to slow down Steph Curry in this game. But, like, we didn't even do that. We were letting him come clean off picks and doing whatever he wanted up until the end of the game. It's just, I don't understand. I don't understand at all.
Yeah.
I'm like disgusted watching this team at times. At the lack of coaching.
Like, especially, like, if you consider time and score, it makes even more sense because, like, sending a double, sending a trap might force turnovers and get easy buckets. So when you're down and need a quick run and you need a momentum change, that defense makes sense to run regardless of who it's against, just based off time and score. So it made sense to switch it up against Steph just because he was going off, and it made sense to trap him just because of the way he was playing and who he is. It made sense to trap him. And then it also made sense from a time and score standpoint. It made so much sense to make that adjustment, and the fact that he didn't make that adjustment is just like, it just makes me facepalm, man. It just makes me facepalm. And this is everybody who's saying, oh, well, he just needs good defensive personnel last year. And I was trying to tell everybody, it's not a defensive personnel thing. We were the 25th ranked defense going into this game with upgraded defensive personnel. We got Nurkic back. We got, we got Derrick Jones Jr. We got Robert Covington. Gary Trent Jr. is now a full-time rotation player and has really developed on the defensive end, where, like, he was kind of, out of the lineup to start last season. Like, we have a far upgraded defensive personnel. And look, after this game, we're probably the 27th ranked defense. Last year, we were the 28th ranked defense. And I was trying to tell everybody, it's not just injuries. Sure, it would help to have a Zach Collins. Sure, it would have helped to have Yusuf Nurkic last year, right? But when we had those two guys in the bubble, we were still a very bad defense, right? But you had Melo starting at 3. Okay, well, we put Melo on the bench, and now we got Derrick Jones Jr. and we got Robert Covington, and we'll have like a flashes of good defense. Now, like, we had good defense against the Lakers, but there's bigger problems beyond that. And the bigger problems are Stotts' inability to adjust or develop a proper defensive game plan going into each game. And, like, those are issues that existed last year and hurt us last year. But everybody was just saying, personnel, it's just the injuries. Well, now you don't have the personnel excuse this year, and those problems still exist because those problems weren't based on personnel in the first place. It was based on the coaching. And now you have a coach who, just like last year, won't adjust given the situation. He won't change up the defensive scheme even when it's being crushed. Like, it's still all the same problems that haven't been fixed, and it's going to hold this team back. And it's very frustrating because these problems should not exist. An NBA coach should be able to adjust and run more than one defense. Shoot, I ran like 5 different defenses in high school, man. Like, it's not that hard. If high school players could run 5 defenses, you could probably coach 2 different defenses as an NBA coach, you know, considering it's the goddamn NBA. But yeah, no, it's just drop scheme till we die, and we died from it tonight.
Yep. Shout out to Russell, first round exit Westbrook, for the $2 donation. He says it's not Stotts' fault. Trade Dame for Aaron Gordon.
Oh yeah, that's the guy that would fix these issues. Is Aaron Gordon.
that's
what everybody was saying.
He had that joke today when people were saying CJ was better than Dame, and we might as well trade him. But yeah, that was sarcasm in case anyone didn't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm through trying to figure it out or make excuses. This guy does not know how to coach properly, at least defensively. His offense is crap too. I don't care what anyone says. He is not an offensive genius. He's had players like Dirk Nowitzki and Damian Lillard, who are some of the best scorers of all time. CJ and Melo are great isolation scorers, so that's why his offense can still get by without any sort of sets. There's no kind of movement. There's no designs to get people open. It's all about shot creation by our playmakers. And if they're not scoring or playmaking enough to counteract what their problems are on defense, we're never going to be a good team. Like, we have to be able to either have some sort of identity on offense where we're creating movement and scoring to keep up with these teams, or we have to change our defensive schemes and philosophies.
I mean, like, we've seen, like, last game, I thought our ball movement was good and whatnot, but, like, it seemed like most of that was just off of, like, the pick and roll, or off of, like, you know, it was freelance, which I've always said we need to move the ball better in freelance. So, like, I like that, but it's like watching a game like tonight. How many, you know, Derrick Jones Jr. didn't play a ton, but he played 17 minutes. How many designed cuts or designed lob plays in the half court did we run for Derrick Jones Jr.?
I didn't see a single one tonight.
Like, for the people that like Stotts as an offensive coach, how many design cuts did we run for the best cutter in the league, according to Synergy from last season, and a tremendous lob threat? How many designed lobs or cuts in the half court did we run for Derrick Jones Jr. tonight? Did we run one? Did you guys see one? That's exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I was, like, down on the sign in the first place. It's like, what? We're just going to park this guy in the corner and he's not going to be able to knock down threes, and then when we drive, you're going to be driving into traffic and either kicking it out to a guy who's shooting 30% from 3, or you're going to have to get layups around 2 people. Like, and people are like, oh, well, he's a great cutter. But it's like, my whole point was, Stotts doesn't design cuts for guys. He doesn't like design plays that utilize guys as like lob threats. You know, you'll have one maybe every 10 games or so, like in terms of like a backdoor lob out of a timeout or something. But like, how many times did you see a design cut for Derrick Jones Jr. tonight, or a design lob play for Derrick Jones Jr.? None. How many times do we get out in transition with Derrick Jones Jr. as a threat tonight? None. Part of that was because we run a drop, pick, and roll, and we don't play pressure defense and force turnovers. So that was my entire thing in regards to the fit with Derrick Jones Jr. You know, I'm still like, I'm still fine with the pickup just because of what he can do defensively, but it's like we could be using this guy a lot better offensively, and we're not, you know, and that's just kind of goes back to our offense is just a one-track pick and roll isolation heavy type of stuff.
Yep. I was so hoping that we could at some point turn the page, but it's just like, I felt this way again since the Western Conference Finals. Like, we win a game and all of a sudden, like, everyone gets complacent. We lose focus. We think we're good enough to just show up tonight and win this game. Like, I guarantee you, like the players and coaching staff thought just showing up tonight, we would be able to do exactly what we did last game and win this game. And you can't do that in the NBA. Players like Steph Curry are too good. You have to have that focus that you had going into that game, where you had to win that game and not fall below 500. And you have to have that every game. And you're never going to string out together enough wins to be a home court advantage type team in the playoffs if you cannot figure that out, that you cannot stop thinking you've arrived every time you win a game.
Yeah, I agree. Y'all gotta chill on Portlandia. Like, he has his opinion, man. I mean, you're not going to make him see your point if you just rant at him, and there's no point to rant at him. He has his opinion. He's respectful about it. So, like, be respectful back. And we disagree with a lot of stuff he says, but be respectful back. There's no problem with him, and there's no reason to not be respectful to him. So like, chill with the Caps ranting AM, and then all people in chat kind of popping off right now. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know, man. Every time our defense isn't working and we don't adjust, I will call it out, and people are like, oh, roller coaster ride. But that's what this team is, It's like, but here's the thing, like, we didn't do anything special defensively last game, just what we were running worked, which is fine, If what we're running works, you don't have to switch it up. If what we're running isn't working, adjust. It's that simple.
See, they made a little bit of an adjustment because I mentioned this after the last game. So Derek Jones Jr. did a great job of getting through picks, and he wasn't, even though we were kind of dropping the big still, like, I felt like Derek Jones Jr. was close enough to Curry to not leave him get clean looks, even if he did get around the pick. Whereas tonight, they were setting the pick a little differently to where Derek Jones Jr. was having to fight through those, and he got called for a couple fouls and then got him into foul trouble. So when he wasn't able to get through the picks as easily, then like, our defense is exposed for the rest of it. But yeah, so, and then, like, in the second half, he wasn't even in there in the end when we needed stops, so I don't know how it would have been if he would have been out there in the fourth quarter. But
yeah, but we brought in Jim Boylan to fix the defense, right? Good old Jim Boylan, legendary NBA
for like 3 weeks,
NBA coach. I mean, maybe this is Jim. Maybe now we can just say, "Oh, it's Jim Boylan's defense, not Stotts'," right? God dang it, Jim Boylan. No, this is the exact defense Stotts has always ran, so I don't understand why they even brought him in the first place. RIP Blazers said, "Bro, I just watched Stotts' post-game interview. The media was roasting Stotts' defensive coaching. Stotts is out of here." Give us a breakdown. Give us a breakdown in chat, man, because yeah, I'd like to hear what was asked, but it's probably not on YouTube, so yeah. And the thing is, if I react to a video, Eric can't hear it. Like, I don't know how to do it where Eric can hear it. So
I can unmute it.
I mean, we'll wait to do that, maybe in a bit. But if he wants to give us a breakdown, I'd rather just have a breakdown in chat if he wants to. That'd be cool. But yeah, so just a frustrating defensive game, frustrating offensive game. These problems are problems that I've pointed out for years, and these problems aren't getting any better. Sure, we're probably a better team with better personnel, and hopefully we win more games, but it's like, after we have a game where we move the ball well and we play decent defense, like, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna be excited about it, happy about it, whatnot, and enjoy the win. I'm gonna be positive about it, but it's not, it's not from the standpoint of, like, I might even be optimistic, like, okay, hopefully we can do this more consistently. But that's as optimistic as I'll get. I don't expect it to be consistent until it's actually consistent. If we see it for 10 games in a row where we move the ball well, where we play good defense and maybe, like, make some defensive adjustments and the right defensive adjustments, then I might have some confidence, like, okay, maybe we're starting to figure this out. But until it's, like, consistent on a game in, game out basis with the brand of basketball the team plays on both sides of the ball, then until then, I'm not going to be confident in it being a consistent thing. After every big win, I'm going to expect a letdown at this point. So, yeah.
And here's the deal. We're good enough where, despite all these problems, we could have still won this game tonight. So like, just because like if we would have came back at the end and pulled out a victory, it doesn't excuse the coaching deficiencies. It just means we have talent on this team to win games, and we have a lot of games coming up like that where we don't necessarily need a good game plan. We just have a more talented team, so they should be able to win some of those games. But like that's the frustrating part is then we play an elite team or a good defensive team, and we just think we can do the same thing that worked against like the Warriors the first game or whatever, and it doesn't work because like other teams have different schemes and stuff like that. I just don't understand why we can't, because moving the ball in offense and having proper sets is something that can't be taken out by another team, right? They can, if you're ISO Dame or run pick and roll heavy with Dame or ISO heavy with CJ or whatever, other teams can take the, like, just say, okay, I'm not going to let CJ beat me and take him out of the game, right? Whereas if you're having creative sets and moving the ball and you have different wrinkles within your offense, like teams can't stop that very easily, especially when we have the type of scorers we have on this roster. So it's just frustrating to me that we're once again talking about these same problems. And I mean, we had 5 assists at halftime, like 5 assists, and we finished with what, 16 or 17, I think. That we've been last in the league in assists with like 20 assists per game. So anything less than 20 is like abysmal. 20 assists per game is bad. And I just wish we would focus more on that, get everyone involved, do more things to move the ball first before we just go ISO heavy. And you bring it up all the time. Like there is a time in every shot clock where if it's not working, like why not try to get an easy bucket first and then go ISO? Why do we start every possession with an ISO possession instead of just going through it? And then, but like we allow teams to do what we don't.
Yeah.
We're trying to get shots on offense that we let teams get shots all game. So that's the other frustrating part is like, why can't we see that these other teams are doing this, getting these type of shots, and how do they stop it? Like, why aren't you watching films on how the other teams stop your offense to try and adjust your defense to match what other teams do against you?
Yeah, the thing is, I feel like this whole conversation is just extremely repetitive because we've been saying this stuff over and over and over again. You know what I mean? It's almost like where it's like, we don't even need to talk about, ball movement for 5 minutes. This team is better when they move the ball, and we've seen it. And this team didn't move the ball tonight. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like it's going to get to a point in the season where, like, well, we didn't move the ball tonight, and look how bad our offense was. We got to move the ball more, like we've said all season. And that's going to be that. Like, I don't know. It's just like, you guys know our standpoint on this, where we stand on this, and you guys know, like, how we feel about the ball movement and stuff, and it's inconsistent right now. So it's like, yeah, we need to move the ball more, and we need to try to get everybody involved and move players, run some design cuts or something instead of just, pick and roll and run around the perimeter and that type of stuff. And this offense would be better. I do want to respond to, like, just kind of this sort of thing. Porlana says, if we win against the Bulls and Timberwolves, we are right where we need to be. Yes, we have a very easy schedule coming up, but we should 100% beat those two teams. Like, there should be no doubt that we'll beat those two teams. I know anything can happen, right? But, like, those two teams are very, very bad. Timberwolves without Cat and the Bulls, those teams are bad. Those teams are bad. Like, we should definitely beat that. But with how inconsistent the coaching has been, and with, like, some of the duds we've had this season, I wouldn't be shocked if we dropped one of those games. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't have to be worried about dropping one of those games, but given how inconsistent this team is in terms of the basketball they play, that's possible. And then he goes on to say, I saw how good we were in the bubble. We were the second best team in the bubble. We had so many close wins in games against inferior teams where Dame popped off for like 40 points. Right? Dame averaged like 40 points a game in the bubble, and our defense was absolutely horrible. We were not the second best team. We get into the playoffs, and we lose in 5 games to the Lakers. I know a lot of, I know the Nuggets did and a lot of other teams, but I don't think we were beating the Nuggets in a playoff series with the way we were playing. I don't think we were beating the Clippers. Shoot, we lost to the Clippers, and they weren't even playing with Kawhi in that game. They were shorthanded, and we lost to them. We barely beat a shorthanded Philadelphia team who was without Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, that's the thing, is like in the bubble, it was Dame, put us on your back and average 40 a game. And he did it, so we won games. But like Our defense was absolutely terrible, even though we had better defensive personnel. We didn't, we only ran one defense that entire bubble, other than the game we played against the Rockets, which was, coincidentally, our best defensive performance of the bubble. So that's the thing is there was still a lot of problems in the bubble that got masked because of how good Damian Lillard was, and we still, despite how amazing Damian Lillard was, we still almost lost a bunch of games to teams that were far inferior than us. I mean, dude, Dame put us on our back in the last game of the season that if we lost, we would have missed the playoffs, and we were playing the Nets, who were playing without a few different key players, and that game didn't matter to them. And we were playing for our playoff lives. And they were missing guys. And Dame went off. And we still were one Karis LeVert missed jumper away from losing that game and missing the playoffs. So, the bubble last year was not, everybody's like, oh, 7-2. Yeah, we played really good, whatnot. I was not impressed by the bubble. I was impressed by Dame, but in terms of the way we played, I was not impressed. There's a lot of issues that still exist now that happened in the bubble that kind of got masked because of inferior teams and Damian Lillard going insane. So yeah, I mean at this point it's just frustrating. It's going to be a broken record, and we'll try and keep it entertaining. I know you guys like when we rant and whatnot, but yeah. Do you want to listen to the let's listen to the post game stream?
Okay.
If you guys want.
I just read I forgot who said it, but someone said that it was near 012 said Dwight James asked him about why Dame gets double and triple teamed and why not do to Steph. That's a great question.
Okay, yeah, we gotta listen to it. So can you repost the link, Westbrook? Because I can't scroll up enough.
So, G League GM for now, I have no idea what that means. He says I am a GM and you guys still don't think I know stuff, so I won't even comment. Love from Asia, brother, my family.
I think he's just trolling, and you're
don't
buying
even know
into it.
No, I mean I'm just trying to understand what he's saying. I don't love Blazers.
Oh, I accidentally clicked off the live stream. The hell? I don't know if there's a hiccup, but I clicked on the link and I thought it would open a new page, and it changed my streaming page to to the link.
I think you're still going.
Yeah. Oh wait, okay. Can you? Okay. How do I do this?
Man,
Copy. Paste. Yeah, I thought I'd open it.
You want to know?
And there's the ad. Let's see. This is a V-Shred ad. I've never heard of that. But yeah, we can watch the post-game show. I can put it over Eric. I don't know. Are you gonna follow along on your own or?
Yeah, I'll just unmute it on YouTube and listen. So, and then mute it back up when you start talking.
Yeah, let's get this rolling. You got your name under Stotts here.
No.
Here. I'll fix that. Watch. Let me see. Because I know you don't want that.
No, it's fine. I'm just playing.
Wait, if I did. Oh, it's freezing anyway. Yeah. Anyway, this is Terry Stotts, not Eric Brandt. For those of you who live under a rock.
Hey, Coach. So we talked about it before the game, just the danger in playing the same team back to back and how you have to really be ready for the added energy that they're going to bring tonight. Was that the problem, or what do you feel like was the difference between tonight and Sunday?
Well, certainly they played a lot better. Steph Curry played an outstanding game. That's an understatement. The first half, we didn't shoot the ball nearly as well as we did the other. So it was it kind of flipped as opposed to our first game with them. But we expected them to come out and play a little bit harder and a little bit better, and they did.
Yeah, they scored 40 more points than they did last game. So
ahead.
Yeah, a lot
Second
better.
Question.
So you mentioned Steph Curry's shooting night. He was lights out. What was the key to that, do you think?
Well, he did a little bit of everything. I mean, he penetrated in the lane. He was 10 for 15 from twos, got to the free throw line. Obviously, he shot some threes. He had 31 at half, and he only made 3 threes. So he scored in a variety of ways. When we tried to get the ball out of his hands, he was able to get it back in his hands. So, it was a great performance by a great player.
And last, can I go again, Jacob?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the last thing then is obviously road trip ends, first one of the season. How would you recap it? I believe you finished 500.
Well, if you can go 500 on the road, that in general, that's a good thing. But
Yeah, but for contending teams, normally they want to play better than 500 on the road. So, like, in general, like, for an average team, yeah, that is good going 500 on the road. But I thought our standards were, like, we're trying to contend. So, if we're trying to contend, we shouldn't necessarily just automatically be happy with 500 on the road. Like, we did play both LA teams and then a back-to-back against Golden State. So, it wasn't, the easiest stretch of games. So, I understand maybe being happy with 500 on this trip. But being automatically happy with 500 on the road is not the mindset, not what the mindset should be for a contending team.
losing the last one on the trip was disappointing. We had a chance to go 3-1, which would have been great. But anytime you can go on the road against 3 quality opponents and split, that's probably a good thing. But it's just a little disappointing right now, having won 2 out of the first 3.
Next question's coming from Dwight James with NBC Sports Northwest.
Terry, we see Dame get doubled and tripled quite often and how it affects him and all. And I'm curious why you don't do more double or even triple teaming a guy who's getting 60 on you. Even at the end of the game, he's coming off screens clear and making passes to Wiggins in the corner and things. I don't understand why the reluctance to maybe try to get the ball out of his hands.
Well, I'd be glad to sit down and watch some video with you, but when we did, he split the double teams and got into the lane in the first half.
Oh, God.
You didn't run a double! What are you talking about? You're so full of shit! Sorry, but my God. What? What double? What double are you talking about, bro? I guess I need to go clip the footage from when Steph scored in the first half, but we were not doubling, man. And the thing is, if you're letting a guy split a double, you're executing it wrong. So make the adjustment and double team right. Because, bro, like, when Dame gets doubled, he can't just I'm just going to split it every time and get layups. Like, it's not that easy if you run a double the right way. Oh my goodness, man. I figured that would be the type of answer, but, yeah, so... yeah, this is just ridiculous. See, that's the type of this is why I tried to just ignore this type of stuff, because it just gets me triggered.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: if we probably did double him one time, and someone probably fell down or missed a rotation, and it led to a thing, and then Stotts is like, "See, Dwight, I'll show you a double team," and it didn't work, and then so Terry would be like, "Yeah, see, it doesn't work, Dwight. That was a stupid question," but Dwight. He absolutely is right. In the fourth quarter of this game, Steph was doing whatever the heck he wanted, and Stotts didn't do a single thing to stop him. So that's on Stotts. Don't get mad at that question. It's the same thing when he was asked game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, why would you let Steph just come off screens and shoot wide open threes the whole game? And he was like, well, did you see what happened when he got double teamed against the Rockets in the second half? He doesn't have an answer because he's a crappy coach. He doesn't know what the frick he's doing.
Yeah, I will go and look back at the plays this Curry scored on in the first half, but they were not proper doubles. Shout out Kyle Wilson, $2 donation. He says Stotts' idea of a double is dropping the big. Yeah, apparently. I'm just at a loss for words right now.
And why the reluctance to maybe try to get the ball out of his hands?
I'm going to listen to this again and keep it playing.
Well, I'd be glad to sit down and watch some video with you, but when we did, he split the double teams and got into the lane in the first half.
And when you didn't, he scored.
We doubled him one time, and then he got the ball back and got a 3 up. The reason he passed to Wiggins in the corners is because we were up on the ball screen. He got by us, and we came to help, and then he kicked it out. So it's not.
But you shouldn't be helping from the strong side corner, though, because I know what play he's talking about, and they helped from the strong side corner, and you don't have the rotation available to help out there. You help from the weak side corner so you can leave a secondary guy over to get out on the first pass so you don't give up those types of shots. So that was a missed executional thing, and he is chalking it up to the fact that he doubled. And this goes back to the whole idea, bro, let me just bring up the clipboard.
Well, what's funny is he literally said we tried doubling him one time and he got the ball back and hit a 3. So that's your excuse for not doubling him in the fourth quarter.
And when you didn't double him, he scored 59 points, right? So
dropping the big and helping off with someone else is not So frustrating.
I mean,
that's
I know
the problem.
Yeah, I know the play he's talking about too. Let me make sure this is on the screen correctly. Yeah, so I think it was on like the right side of the court. We'll just do it on the left side. It'll be easier. So it's basically just a play where, like, I think I don't know which direction he came off the screen, but it really honestly doesn't matter. Actually, let's make Golden State's blue. So let's make them offense. It was basically something like this. You had Wiggins is technically there too, but you had something like this, some sort of setup like this. And yeah, it was some sort of setup like this where I guess they tried to play up, which I don't really think so. It seemed like they were kind of playing here instead of coming up and doubling. If you double correctly, you don't leave space for him to split. Like, there's a reason Dame can't just always split a trap, right? Like, Dame doesn't just do that all the time. Like, you're not supposed to let the guy just split the trap. If you, like, double out here, then yes, it's easy for him to split and go downhill. You gotta get up here and don't give him space to split this, right? Yep. Like, Dame tries to split all the time. Honestly, like, quite a bit. He gets his dribble messed up and, like, sometimes turns the ball over on it because he can't split the trap because there's just, like, too clogged. There's not enough space, and the defender will get a hand on the ball and mess up his dribble, giving them time to recover back, and he can't get a clean shot. Like, that's what happens if you double correctly. So that's the thing. That's my issue with him, is it's not like, yeah, well, we tried to double and we, like, didn't execute it properly. Like, it's almost like he doesn't know how to properly coach a trap or a double, you know? But okay, so he splits it, right? What happens if he splits it? Chat, which guy, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, which guy is supposed to be the primary help defender? This is a quiz for chat. I'm curious to see the answer before I let you know. Eric, don't say anything. I want to see if chat knows. Here's your guys' basketball quiz. Which one of these three guys, and there might be more than one right answer, to be honest, but which one of these guys is supposed to help? Reese, the question is which one of these three guys, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, is supposed to be like the next help guy? Steph Curry splits this double. Which guy's supposed to help? Yeah. Anybody who said Malcolm, you're wrong. I'm proud of you guys, chat, because you guys are saying the pretty much the right answer. The right answer, small forward or power forward. Either one of these guys. One of these guys is supposed to help, and then one of these guys is supposed to take the first pass. So he helps here. You can't kick it out this side. If he like passes out to the power forward, this guy rotates out. While the pass is going out to the power forward, this guy starts running out to the second guy, so that if the power forward catches it and swings here, this guy can fully recover and not let a clean shot go off, right? So it could be the power forward helping down, or it could be, more often or not, it would probably be the small forward, just because he should be closer. You know, when you're one pass away from the pick and roll, you're supposed to play up, deny a little heavier, and when you're two passes away, you can help more. So most times it probably would be the small forward that comes over and helps at the rim. This is why I like having Derrick Jones Jr. there, because he's athletic and should be able to provide good help defense. And then the power forward gets the first pass out. If it's here, if it's a skip to there, it's boom, boom. If it's here, it's boom, boom, right? On this play that Stotts is talking about, Steph splits the pick and roll, and we help from here. A poor executional thing. He was talking about, they passed it to Wiggins in the corner. Yeah, CJ came all the way in here. The reason why this guy isn't supposed to help is because there's only one off-ball defender on this side of the court. So if he helps, this guy's completely wide open.
Honestly, there's times where all three help, and then he has his choice to pass to any of the three.
Yeah, I'll be like this. And then see, that's two missed executional things, and Stotts is just chalking it up to, well, that's why we can't double, and that's why I have no confidence in Terry Stotts as a defensive coach. Bro, he said to Dwight, I'd like to watch film with you, Dwight. Bro, watch film with me, please. Watch film with me. Like, dude, this is like common stuff, right? And everybody says, oh, you're not an NBA coach. Bro, this is common stuff, which is why it's mind-boggling to me that he, like, for whatever reason, doesn't recognize these executional mistakes. First one, you're not supposed to just let him split the trap. It's a bad double if you let him split it. That's the first executional mistake. If that happens, though, you're supposed to have, some sort of help side defender, one of these weak side guys, right? And this guy stays home, not letting this pass get out. And then if he kicks it to one of these, the guy left over here gets first pass, the guy that helped gets second pass. And then Dame has time to recover to the point guard, because he got rid of the ball. So, yeah, but in Stotts' mind, it's not an executional mistake. Oh, well, we tried to double and he just split it, so obviously it's not a good plan. And then, when he split it, we had to provide help, and they got an open Wiggins 3, and, so that's why we can't trap. No, that's 2 executional mistakes, basic stuff, and it's like he doesn't recognize how to properly double. Like, he is such an awful defensive coach, man, and I'll drop the clip so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about too. I'll figure out how to drop the clip on Twitter. I wish I could upload, or I wish I could stream footage, bro. I would have a field day. If we could put like NBA footage on here. I would have an absolute field day if I could draw on things, like draw on actual footage. Oh my goodness, I would have a field day. But this is what we have to resort on. Still facts. Right, Eric? Is that facts, or am I just too confident and think I know too much about basketball? You know what I mean? Like,
okay. So, how does chat understand this? You can break it down, but Stotts is telling that he's gonna make like Dwight Jaynes understand his crappy defense somehow, like, and just be like, oh, okay. Like, Stotts knows he's being exposed, and he knows that the media has been very, very soft on him for years, and he sees it starting to turn, and his real, like, kind of personality is going to come out here, because he's just going to get really defensive. He's going to start, like, you can see his face, even though he's wearing a mask, like, when certain people start to ask questions, like, you can see him get, like, building up anger about the questions, like, whenever he's, like, questioned about anything. So this question by Dwight Jaynes is one of the more, like, logical and reasonable questions you could ask Stotts in a press conference in a game where Steph Curry went off for 62 points and we weren't really double teaming him. So for him to, like, answer in a condescending way towards Dwight, like he just doesn't understand defensive schemes or something, was I think that's ridiculous. And I'm convinced that Stotts either doesn't watch film or doesn't understand what he's watching, or, like, isn't smart enough to figure out things, because, like, there's no way he'd make the decisions he makes or have the game plans he has if he's actually breaking down film and seeing this time after time not work. I don't understand.
Somebody found the clip. If you guys want to post that link, I mean, you'd probably have to click off this stream, but I found the clip. If you guys want to watch it, after 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the fourth quarter is this play that he's talking about, right? This is what the Blazers did. It's even worse than I thought. This is what they did. It was actually like, let me see here. So Steph's going left and Wiseman's like here, right? And it was a little different floor setup, but it was a screen right here. And instead of going to the screen and trapping on this side, the Blazers did this. They doubled like this. They didn't double out here, which is what you're supposed to do when he's coming off the screen. They literally brought this guy on the inside of the pick to get both these guys screened. And this is what Carmelo did. This is what Carmelo did. Like, I'm watching the footage right now. This is exactly what Carmelo did. When he got screened, he just backed up to here. And Curry came off. Probably had a wide open 3. Right? Bro, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, we tried to bring up 2. Like, I mean, maybe the plan was to double before the screen, but, like, double hard, Like,
But that,
they didn't double hard. They didn't. Yeah.
We saw that last year on Luka and Trae Young, where we tried to run a double team, and it was so slow developing and so transparent that it didn't work. So, like, you can't double team in that way. It has to be decisive, quick, and you either have to have it available or you abandon it and don't do it. But the problem is, it's just like, okay, guys, double team Curry on this possession. And, like, even though it makes no sense to double team him at that position, they'll just be like, oh, we were told to double team. And then Stotts will say, oh, see, we tried to double team. It doesn't work, idiots.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what happened. It wasn't, like, from the jump. Draymond Green started turning to set a pick. Like, he made, like, you know, the motion like he was going to set a pick. Melo sees this and then walks up here. Like, and then gets screened. You know what I mean? Maybe that's Melo's fault, but even when this happens, like, you don't have to help from here. Let me see where Wiseman went. Like, you already have the center here protecting the rim, and you have Wiseman. Sure, you might be able to get a dump-off pass, but, like, you already have this kind of, like, set up, right? So you shouldn't leave either of these corners. You know, you get like, you had like Dame trailing, and you could have had Melo like sag in and help with this too, considering Draymond isn't a good shooter. Like, this is pretty bottled up. But CJ, let me see how far he runs in here. I want to see it. Like, I wish I could just show the footage. But you have CJ completely leave his guy, which CJ does a really bad job of this, and steps all the way into the paint, right? Mm-hmm. All the way into the paint, and leaves this wide open. There's just no reason for that, and CJ like sucks at this. But yeah, you had Melo. Melo didn't even make an effort to get back in the play. He just kind of stood here and watched, and just turned his back, and just kind of like didn't do anything. But you had Dame, or this was Gary Trent Jr. guarding him. But yeah, you had Gary Trent Jr. trailing him. You already had the center here. Small forward was fine off the ball. This was actually Dame, you know, so the positions are kind of messed up, but this was Dame. If CJ just stays home and Curry drives, like, and if Melo makes an effort to get back in the play and you got Dame trailing, you got this pretty bottled up. But CJ goes all the way into the paint and he just kicks it out to Wiggins for a wide open three. But in Stotts' mind, that is, oh, well, we tried to double and Wiggins got an open three. No, the whole execution of that was absolutely terrible. It looked like a team that never tries to send two. You know what I mean? That doesn't know what to do. So yeah, no, that's just a horrible reasoning from Stotts to not double. But here's the thing. I'd rather have Wiggins shoot wide open threes than Steph Curry shoot wide open threes when Steph Curry has 50-some points. Right? Like, wouldn't you rather have Wiggins shooting than a red-hot Steph Curry? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but, like, that was a better... With all the mistakes we made defensively on that position, that was a better defensive possession than most of ours, because Wiggins shooting an open three is better than Steph Curry shooting open threes while hot. So, yeah, that whole thing is just ridiculous.
And, I mean, we had Dame, CJ, Melo, and Cantor in the game at that time.
Yeah,
so, like, can you really expect your defense? I've joked around about this before, but I'm not really joking anymore. Like, I think he plays lineups like that just to have that excuse to where, oh, see, there's nothing I can do. Like, he runs the double team with, like, Melo and Cantor, you know, or, like, and stuff like that. And then he's like, oh, see, double teams don't work. But, like, if he ran it with Derrick Jones Jr. and Robert Covington or something, it would absolutely shut him down, and he would be exposed as a coach for not doing that with the personnel he has. Like, I don't know.
That still doesn't explain why he didn't just trap the pick and roll. Like... Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, he was getting one-on-one buckets, but they were very tough. Like, Gary Trent Jr. was playing good one-on-one defense, so it's like, okay, if he hits tough shots, fine. Like, you know, maybe send two, like, I don't know. The way they sent two was bad, that possession. Send two higher, where you can, like, go under a screen or something. You know what I mean? Instead of, like, at the three-point line while screen's being set up, sending two, and they both get picked off, and then helping from the wrong area. You know what I mean? Like, just the executional mistakes whenever we try and send two are just mind-boggling, but they're like the case for like no matter who's on the floor, which speaks to me that it's something with the coaching. Like, we don't emphasize it enough, and we don't know how to properly coach a double team and that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, just a frustrating play. It's 2 minutes 45 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So if you go watch a full highlights video later, that's the exact play I'm talking about. Yeah, so just very, very frustrating. Let's listen to the rest of this interview.
Not like we didn't give him a lot of attention. Our bigs were up. He just, like I said, in the first half, our bigs were.
I mean, your big was up, but it was Enes Kanter for 24 minutes this game, and he was getting absolutely killed. Harry Giles playing up would have been nice to see, but you won't play him.
We're up, and he got into the lane. So it's not like we didn't try.
Yeah, okay, but I'll look at film anytime you say, Terry, but on that particular play, your big wasn't up. He came off the screen.
Talking about the one in the last
2.5
minute of the game?
minutes to go.
Which one are you talking about?
Waitman's in your corner.
Yeah, so that was like in the last 2 minutes of the game, last minute of the game?
2.5, yeah.
Okay.
Next question is coming from Aaron Fentress with the Oregonian.
Thank you, Dwight. I love Dwight, man. Dwight's the only guy asking questions I like really respect, because he asks legit questions. That's a very legit question. That's a great question, and he's not afraid to like back down either. So I like it.
Aaron, go ahead.
Covington and Jones got into some foul trouble. Did that contribute to not being able to maybe handle Curry as much, do some of the things he wanted to do?
Not really. Derek was on him. Yeah, he got in a little foul trouble, but I think he scored on about, no matter who was on him, he was having success. Gary was on him some. Obviously, Derek and Robert were on him some. So different people, we switched sometimes. So Dame or CJ were on him. So it wasn't a question of, I don't think it was a question of foul trouble.
Okay.
Oh,
Also,
so he was scoring regardless, so might as well just play Melo and Kanter, right? Okay. See, that's like his logic there. Steph Curry is going to score on anybody, so you might as well just play the worst defenders. If he's going to score anyway, might as well just like not even care about who we have in the game defensively in terms of personnel. That's the vibe I got from that question. Maybe you guys got a different vibe, but that was the vibe I got from that.
Which has been pretty up and down, kind of a down night tonight. Is he still working his way back into shape and not where you expect him to be?
Nurkic, I think.
I don't know. You'd have to ask him about as far as his conditioning. I thought Ennis was really good all night, especially in the.
How was Ennis really good? He was good offensively, but he was an absolute train wreck defensively. But it's like that doesn't matter.
That's all Stotts knows about.
Like, yeah, if you look at the box score, he had 24 and 10. Dude, he got burnt defensively almost every possession he was on the court. How was he really, really good? There's two sides to the ball.
Did you see Casey Holdall saying that? He was like, how could anyone blame Ennis this game? He was great and had 19 points, and Pascal only had 10 and 9 or something.
Just respond to that. If you guys see that stuff on Twitter, just say defense matters.
Yeah.
There's two sides to the basketball. There's two sides to the game. I know Blazers media isn't used to seeing a good defensive team or a team that does anything defensively, but yeah, defense matters.
In the second half, so stayed with him.
Oh, and that's the end. And it's recommending my own postgame show. Cool. Anyway, yeah, so
there's
pull
your... that down or something?
What? What'd you say? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I said, what'd you say?
I said, did they pull that down or something?
I don't know.
It just kind of cuts off.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I don't know. But yeah, so, I mean, I don't have confidence in him. I don't have confidence in him coaching the defense whatsoever. Offensively, it's not like we do stuff that's hard to run. We don't have an intricate offense. So that's why when people say if we fire Stotts, we're not going to make the playoffs. It's bro, he it doesn't help us defensively at all. In our offense, we just run pick and roll in isolation. Any coach can. I could coach pick and roll in isolation. They would probably run kind of the same offense most of the time without a coach, in my opinion. Without a single coach. Because,
rec ball. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do in an open gym. You run some pick and roll and you isolate. But bro, when I don't know, even in an open gym, I'll go set off ball screens and I'll cut and I'll look for cutters, you know what I mean? It's just basketball. That's just the basics of basketball. It's just that's basic basketball. And we don't do anything special offensively, in my opinion. So that's the thing. Defense, how does he help us defensively? offense, what do we do that's so special? We were last in the league in assists last year. Like, I know we didn't have a great roster, but that doesn't excuse us being last in the league in assists. We're commonly bottom 5 in assists, and we have a shooting guard that, you know, people say is a black hole, but like he averaged over 4 assists per game last year. You got Dame, you got Nurkic, who's a solid passing center now. Like, that's the thing. It's just, what does he do that's so special that make people like him so much? I don't understand it. Like, and then you get to the adjustability thing, and there's none of that. I don't understand why people like him so much. I'm just lost.
Someone else mentioned this to me too. Block Boy says the Warriors broadcast said literally, just find Enes Kanter and abuse him. That was their offensive game plan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, teams target him on the pick and roll because he's hopeless that way. But in Stotts' mind, he had a really good game, and there's nothing he could do. And, you know, like, there's just obvious issues, and it just starts with the coach, in my opinion, man. Like, I don't know how else to explain this to somebody that disagrees with me, but, like, I mean, nobody who disagrees with me actually has a legit conversation about it. Like, maybe at some point I need to bring somebody on that actually, like, disagrees, and maybe we can try and have a legit conversation. But, like, bro, I'd love to have media on and just, like, be able to point stuff out like this. I mean, I think the media is starting to see it. You know, Dwight James, I don't think he's happy with the coaching job from Stotts. Like, yeah, it's just frustrating.
For the people saying, like, how could you kill Kanter this game? So, first of all, we're not killing him. He's got his faults, and he's got his strengths, and he played a good game tonight, offensively at least. He was good on the offensive boards and stuff. He rebounded very bad on the defensive rebounds. They got a ton of offensive rebounds. They did against Nurkic as well, which it continues to be a theme from last year that we did not rebound well. And I think in that regard, we are missing guys like Zach Collins. But the thing is, if you've looked at every game so far, it's almost universal that when Kanter and Melo come into the game, bad stuff starts to happen. And it's not necessarily either of their faults. I just don't understand how you could watch last game and see the impact Giles had when he finally got a chance to play, and then not even give him a single minute in this game when it was like the 2 games we got blown out prior to this. It was just like that, only Golden State's not good enough to, like, fully pull away, but they were up by 20 at one point. Like, there's no reason we should be down 20 to Golden State, and you have energy, guys, for this reason. You have a guy like Giles. You have a guy like Nasir Little was free to play tonight. Like, why not, when you're losing and nothing is working, why not give those guys a chance to spark something?
I'm not sure how much energy Nasir Little has right now with what he's doing with, but I agree with the premise.
This isn't just about this game. Yeah. It's about, like, all games in general. Like, why, if you truly watch film on last game and thought, oh, we're down by 10 right now, you know what would be really good? Let's bring in Kanter and Melo and leave Giles on the bench and not give him a chance to like spark this team because it's headed in the wrong direction. Like, if you've watched film and truly broken down your rotations and are trying to like logically analyze that, like, I don't know what you're seeing because it's not working, the rotations, and you're keeping them the same, and I don't understand that. And then on top of that, not only do you have that rotation in the second half, but you leave those 2 in the entire fourth quarter, basically, and, like, don't do anything to it. They don't. You think it's a good idea to play those 2 together? Like I said, it wasn't even, like, either of their faults necessarily. It's just, like, we already have Dame and CJ in the game in the fourth quarter. We're needing stops. They're already not the greatest defenders, especially against a guy like Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. We require our small forward to do so much defensively in these games, and we don't even have a lineup that features a small forward or a power forward that can help those guys defend. And so, like, of course we're not going to get enough stops. and hit. I don't know. It's just so frustrating. We give them 137 points, and you just keep letting them play the same way, and it's just I don't get it. I don't get it.
You have to play good on both sides of the ball to come back from a double-digit deficit. You have to play good on both sides of the ball. You're not going to play good defense if you have a lineup in of Dame, CJ, Melo, and Cantor. Like, if you're going to run that lineup out there, I'd rather you just run out the scrubs. I'd rather you just run out CJ Ellaby, Kelvin Blevins, and let's see Nas. We haven't seen Nas in forever. Like, because you're not going to come back running that lineup because you're not going to get the stops necessary to come back. That lineup was hopeless defensively, but it's like he runs it out there, goes, oh, well, Cantor's playing good offense, and, we have good offense out there, right? Like, you got to play good on both sides of the floor. You put Giles in over Cantor, sure, he's probably not getting 24 and 10, but you can still play good offense. Giles can pass, he can roll, he can finish, he can knock down the occasional jumper. You still got offensive talent out there, but you actually have a chance to compete on the defensive end if you have a guy like Giles in instead of Cantor. But with Cantor, we had no chance to compete on the defensive end, and of course we didn't come back. There's a reason why Melo and Cantor, they're like, somebody looked this up on the forum, so shout out to them. I forget who it was. But I ended up tweeting this out. Going into this game, their net rating, I think this is per 100 possessions. Melo and Cantor, when they're on the floor together, they've played 63 minutes together, and this is primarily against bench lineups. Benches, not starters, benches. Their net rating is negative 22.9. Negative 22.9. I think that's per 100 possessions. That's far more than any two-man pairing that's played more than 45 minutes together. Like, you have, like, some small sample size guys played, like, 10 minutes together and, like, got outscored by, 6 points in 10 minutes. And since it's, like, per 100 possessions, that gets extrapolated out, but that's just a small sample size, right? No, in 63 minutes together, they get outscored by basically 23 points per 100 possessions. That's terrible. Like, Melo wasn't even, like, that bad defensively tonight, but Cantor, either Cantor needs a guy that can, like, truly help him protect the rim. He needs a Derrick Jones Jr. or Robert Covington level defender, and I'm sorry to Block Boy and all the Melo fans out there, but Carmelo Anthony is not as good defensively as Derrick Jones Jr. or Robert Covington. Or, like, if you have Melo out there, he needs a little bit more help than a guy who's an absolute train wreck defensively. That pairing does not work. It just absolutely does not work. And it's obvious that it doesn't work. And here's another thing with, like, the lack of adjustability. I don't know what Terry Stotts sees in that pairing that has him saying it's a good thing to run off the bench. Because, like, every time those two play together, they never make up ground with their offense because they're giving up so many points.
Yeah, that's why I want to, like, just try staggering them a little bit. But Melo played 16 minutes in the first half. He came in and didn't leave the game. And it wasn't like, I mean, we talked about this before. If he's having a great game, fine, that's cool. But, like, he was like 1 for 7 at one point in the first half, and he still played 16 minutes. So, like, I don't understand if he's not feeling it that night, why you would keep him in that game. He did play in the first quarter. It was the third quarter he didn't play in, Buff Boy.
Yeah, at halftime he had 16 minutes, so he had to have played in the first quarter.
Yeah, so I just don't get playing these two together, and it's nothing against either one of them. It's just, like, I don't know why. And you can try when you're getting, like, Golden State was killing us on the offensive rebounds at one point while we're trying to get stops. That's so harmful to a team when you're trying to get stops and trying to come back in a game and giving up offensive rebound after offensive rebound, especially when you have a guy like Steph Curry so hot. But, like, why not try Giles? Go with a little bigger lineup maybe. Try to outmatch them with some side. I don't know. Just try something different. But instead you leave that lineup in. They actually had Ant, like someone mentioned, in with those three. So Ant was like the small forward.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, like, Dame, CJ, Ant, Melo, and Cantor.
For a while. Yeah. Like, what? Like, I mean, once again, no fault of any of those guys individually. It's just like, what are we doing? How can you expect that?
How are you going to come back if you can't get stops? You have to, dude, it's just stuff that seems so basic to me, I guess isn't basic stuff, but it seems pretty basic to everybody else in chat too. I mean, I asked them who should be the help side defender on a play, and they know which guy it should be. But yeah, when we're in those types of situations, the play I was talking about, it was a little different setup than that. But just in general, when we're in those situations, you have the guy from the strong side corner helping into the paint. Oftentimes it's CJ. He has no idea when to help and when not to help. And then they kick it out for wide open threes, And then Stotts says, well, that's why we dropped the big so that CJ doesn't have to help. See, it shouldn't be helping in the first place. It should be the weak side guys where there's usually two offensive players. So yeah, it's just like stuff like that that's just like basic basketball, and most of my chat understands it, right? If you go to maybe the people watching a different post-game program, they probably don't answer that right quite as much, because we actually educate a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know, man. It's so basic, and the issues are so obvious, and they're issues that have always existed, and I don't see them getting better. So I don't know. I mean, do you want me to put on my optimist cap, or do you want me to just like save that shtick for another game?
I mean, we're still good enough to win games. Like, we should win several of the next few. That's not the point. And like Portlandia is saying, we could win possibly like 13 out of the next 15 games. That's not the point.
With how we're playing right now. Not with how we're playing right now. We're gonna have letdowns.
And his attitude is, we're 3-3. We had probably the toughest 6-game schedule in the league. It's not good enough, bro. It's not good enough. If you want to be the 8th seed or the 7th seed, then yes, that's probably good enough. But you would agree. You even said it last game, Portlandia, that you think we have elite talent. And you were like, finally Tori and Eric recognize that we have elite talent. We've been saying that all along. We know that we have elite talent. We think we are contenders and could be if they were coached properly, but they aren't. And this is why we're fighting for the playoffs or in previous seasons instead of like actually being a high-seeded team. That's the reason why we had to play the Lakers in the playoffs and barely made the playoffs and had to win a play-on game just to make the playoffs. Like, these are the reasons why. It's not because of like, we can win easy games. Yeah, of course we can. We can. It'll probably be fine. It's just like there's no reason to play this poorly at a time when you played so well. Like every other game this year, it's like you play well, you play bad. You play well, you play bad. Why don't we string together? Why don't we play well more often? It doesn't make sense. Good teams do not play well only half the time.
Well, it's not even that. Counting the preseason and the regular season, 7 out of our 10 games we've played very poorly in, right? The last 3 preseason games, and then opening night against Utah, lose by 20. We beat the Rockets, who had just a patchwork lineup first game of the season. We did not play well that game. We needed a CJ game-winning shot with 5 seconds left just to win that game. We are 1 shot away from being 2-4. 2-4, right? So that's why I'm not just looking at the record like, 3-3, we're fine. No, like, we were far more talented than that Rockets lineup on the court, but we needed heroics in overtime just to win that one, right? We had a really well-played game against the Lakers, right? The first preseason game we played well, we moved the ball well, we hit shots, right? We had a really good, well-played game against the Lakers, right? Next game, absolute terrible game against the Clippers, okay? Game after that, we played a really good game in the first game we played the Warriors. We played very, very well that game. This game, played terrible, lost by 15 to the Warriors, who have not been good this season. Thing is, they're also 3-3, and they haven't played well. You know what I mean? Like, bruh, I mean, you can't be happy. This roster is too good to be dropping. Like, I know there's things they got to figure out and stuff, and a bunch of excuses you could like throw at it. But 7 out of the 10 games we played very bad, so you can't be happy with 3-3. Like, if we were playing great basketball and we're 3-3, that'd be different. Like, and yeah, we could win the next 5 games, but if like 2 of those are overtime games because we played bad basketball and let a far inferior team stay in the game, but we still pull them out, I'm not going to be like that happy about those games, because what happens when things matter in the playoffs? If we play like that, we're not going to accomplish what we want to accomplish this year. So it's more about, okay, how are we playing? And 7 out of 10 games, we've played bad. Okay? 3 out of the 10 games, we've played good. Okay? Like, no, it should be almost every game we play solid. Sometimes you'll miss shots. I'm just talking about the style of play. I'm not even talking about like, oh, do we make shots, miss shots? I'm talking about like just simple doing basic stuff like moving the ball, playing the right defensive scheme, maybe adjusting if that scheme starts to get exploited. Just basic stuff that you should do every single game because it's basics, right? But 7 out of 10 games, we haven't even been able to do basic things that we should consistently do. So I'm not happy whatsoever with that. And we could still win we could win the next 5 games given who we're playing if we, just go out there and play rat ball and just win off talent. Yes, but we got to start doing the basic stuff consistently in order to have a chance at contending. And I haven't seen that consistently. I've seen it here and there. I've seen it 3 games out of the 10, but that shouldn't be the standard. That shouldn't be what you're happy with.
And here's the problem. We saw it after game 4. CJ makes the comments, hey, we're 2-2, we're fine, we're okay, like we're right where we want to be. That's the same attitude that Portlandia has right now. Oh, we're 3-3, it's fine. We played 6 tough games. Like, that's not the type of mentality or attitude that gets you to win championships. You have to have a killer mentality, especially at the professional level. You cannot get by being complacent or happy with being an average team or not showing up on certain nights. They should all be absolutely pissed tonight that they failed to take advantage of this game. They could have gone home 4-2. There is no excuse for not being 4-2 right now, and there was no excuse for the way they played tonight. And all of them should be ashamed of this effort, especially the coach. And they're like, it's just really frustrating that this team has the talent, they have the pieces, they just don't bring it on a consistent basis. And until they get their heads out of their butts and start like actually thinking that they need to work harder to win these games, I just don't think it's going to be anything but a battle to make the playoffs this year. And that is completely disappointing given the roster. There's no reason they should not be one of the top 4 or 5 seeds in the West this year. Yep. And they might still do it. They have enough talent to get by even playing that way. They might make the playoffs, but like, you cannot play at a professional level consistent basketball if you have fluxes of motivation, fluxes of consistency, all that kind of stuff. It's got to be consistent from a night in and night out basis.
Yeah, I mean, if this is a rebuilding team, like, we wouldn't be harping on these things, but we're holding this team to a contention level standard, right? So if it seems like we're being a little hard, that's because we're holding this team to a very high standard, a standard that I think they could reach given the talent on their team. So yeah, I mean, if we want to contend, we have to get this stuff right. Like, we cannot, you cannot contend being this inconsistent with basic stuff. And I know people, it's early in the season, right? But the thing is, we're talking about basic stuff. We're not talking about like some more advanced techniques or concepts or anything. We're talking about basic stuff that shouldn't be hard to consistently at least try to do, right? Like, the thing is like, a lot of the basic stuff I'm talking about, oftentimes we see little to no effort to do those things, and I mean, it goes to little stuff like boxing out, dude. I count so many missed box outs and so many guys just turning around watching the ball go to the rim. It applies to moving the ball. It applies to the coaching with adjusting things offensively, having sets for specific guys, to get Derrick Jones Jr. cutting towards the rim in space, maybe a backdoor lob for him. It applies to adjusting the defense when we're getting killed by the one guy we have to stop. He's literally the only guy that can beat us single-handedly, and we let him drop 62. So yeah, I just want to see an effort in that regard. If it doesn't work, it's fine. We just need to make more of an effort, and the fact that we're not even making a consistent effort, that's not due to it being early in the season. That excuse does not apply to making an effort to do basic things, right? It might apply to executing basic things and like having the chemistry to be able to know where guys are going to be and move the ball properly amongst one another, but it doesn't apply to trying to do that. So yeah, I knew it needs to be more of a philosophical staple with this team: moving the ball, being adjustable defensively, two very simple things, and those are the two biggest things that I was asking for this season. And we've seen a little bit of it in the preseason where we run different defenses. Stotts gave up based off the preseason. He doesn't even want to see how it looks like in the regular season, right? He's already given up on that. But I mean, you look at our drop scheme, which is what we've been running all season, and we're probably 27th ranked defensively after these 6 games. Yeah, just none of the excuses fly so far.
Yeah, we stepped up into like the mid-20s. Now we're probably back towards the end.
We were 25th going into this game based off defensive rating. Yeah, which is very, very bad. Very, very bad, especially given the personnel. So, yeah, let's quickly touch on individual players, maybe like a minute each. I kind of want to wrap up this stream soon. But yeah, so let's just quickly take about a minute or two on each player and then wrap up this stream. I got to change this graphic because that's based off last game. Here we go. We'll start off with Dame, who dropped 32 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, was 10 for 24 from the field, 6 for 15 from the three-point line, meaning he was 4 for 9 inside the arc. This was I don't know. I wouldn't say this was a little bit inefficient, but not really. I don't know, 10 for 24, you would like to see 11 or 12, but you're talking about 1 or 2 missed shots, like not a big deal in one game. This was kind of like a solid game for Dame, I mean, people look at 10 for 24 and expect him to shoot better. I mean, it's 2 more made shots and he's shooting 50%. He did shoot 40% from 3 for the game, so I wouldn't say it's really that inefficient of a night at all. He had some big moments, hit some big time shots. Got 9 boards. His playmaking isn't quite the level it was last year. Like, a lot of passes are getting tipped. I feel like his turnovers are probably up. I don't know if the stats necessarily back that up, but do you know how many turnovers he had in this game?
5 turnovers, 4 assists. Yeah, it's not good.
I saw 5 assists. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe sometimes I mix it up with certain guys. But regardless, I think CJ had 5 assists.
CJ had 5 assists,
okay.
yeah.
So Dame had 4 assists, 5 turnovers. He seems to be a little bit more, not as sharp in terms of his playmaking, but, I mean, 6 for 15 and hit some deep threes. That's 40%. Like, yeah, he shoots 40% from 3 on the season, including some of those deep ones. Like, that's good. Right, so his shooting has been good the past couple games. I would like to see him sharpen up the playmaking a little bit more, but he's had 2 back-to-back 30-point games on solid shooting. So there's really nothing to complain about offensively other than some of the playmaking issues.
Yeah, he only had 4 rebounds. CJ had 9 rebounds too.
I mixed up their stats. Yeah, man. I mean. Yeah, let me make sure I got CJ's graphic right before I pull it up. Yeah, CJ had
9 rebounds, 5 assists.
See, I mixed up their line. So yeah, apologies for that, but I rushed them before the game, so hopefully all the other ones are good to go. It'd be nice to have a third person to help with that, but here we go. We got CJ, 28 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Yeah, I should have realized that. I mixed up their stat line there, other than the points. But CJ was 10 for 23. This is like the second game in a row that CJ and Dame have matched each other pretty much shooting-wise. 10 for 23. He was... I need to pull up the box score here because my phone has 3% left. I'll pull it up on my phone just so we don't got an ad playing. CJ was 2 for 8 from the three-point line. He's been hot from 3, so, not... 25%, not his typical shooting night so far this season, but hit some shots inside the arc. He was 6 for he was 8 for 15, so above 50%. Got to the free throw line 8 times, which is a good amount for CJ. Hit 6 of those 8 free throws, had 5 assists. He only had 1 at halftime, was kind of going into black hole mode. He did a better job passing the ball in the second half. He had a solid game offensively, I'd say.
Yep. The only problem I have is this goes back to coaching too, but when players are hot or having a good game, it seems like the next game they come out and we go heavy into ISO at the beginning of the game, where it should be the opposite, right? Mm-hmm. We should be finding ways to get these guys easy baskets. Instead, he's having to take difficult shots. And we've seen this year that he's been able to make really good shots, but the problem is, over the course of a season, and when you get into the playoffs against elite defenses, same thing I've been saying this whole time, you can't consistently make those kind of shots. Yes, you can have a game 7 where you hit some of those shots and win a game for us, but the kind of shots he's been taking and making this year, a lot of them are ones that aren't necessarily the best shots. He's just hitting them this year at a higher percentage than he has in previous years. So it's been good, but like you can't go into every game expecting him to make those kind of shots. And if those are the kind of shots we're consistently getting out of our offense, once again, I feel like our sets need to change to get these guys cleaner looks or better looks.
Yeah, or just move the ball. I mean, Dame was hot last game and got his most wide open 3 of the season off a good ball movement, so yeah, definitely need to make that kind of the base of our offense. Move the ball, move players, cut, maybe try and get out in transition a little bit more. I know the team wanted to do that, and they haven't really done that so far this season. And then, if a guy gets hot, then you can rely on it. If it's late in the shot clock, then you can rely on it. If you want a 2-for-1 and want to shoot at a specific time, then you can rely on it. Like, there's times where you can rely on ISO. It's just sometimes we over-rely on it from a game-in, game-out basis. So I agree with that. Next up, we got Enes Kanter, who, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 8 for 12 from the field, 8 for 12 from the free throw line. Like, offensively, he was great tonight. Offensively, he was great. Defensively, he was terrible. Like, I feel like he gave up as many points as he put on the board, right? If you play Giles over him, I think I don't know. Maybe the score's a little worse, but I feel like this might have been a single-digit loss if you played Giles over him, just because I feel like Giles is a far superior defensive player to Kanter, and Giles probably could have put, in 24 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised if Giles put 10 points on the board, you know what I mean, and maybe made a nice pass and helped out the offense. So that's the thing, like, even when Kanter has phenomenal offensive games, I still don't really feel good about it just because, like, he's been horrible defensively. Like, he was solid defensively in the playoffs when we made our Western Conference Finals run. Like, he's not that same defender. And that's saying something because he, like, wasn't, like, a great or even good defender in the playoffs, but he was just, like, serviceable. Right now, he's not even a serviceable defender. He is just getting absolutely abused every time he steps on the court. This was not a good matchup for him. We saw that in the first game. He doesn't have help next to him, when he's playing with Melo in the front court. And he just is, defensively, it's a major issue.
Yeah, so once again, it's because in the playoffs, he plays, we played Steven Adams. Jokic isn't a terrible matchup for him. Like, those are bigs that he can bang with and kind of, like, use his size a little bit more. He doesn't have to. Oklahoma City has a quick point guard or had a quick point guard that year in Russell Westbrook, but he's not the kind of guy like Steph Curry who's going to kill you with, like, 8 threes. So, like, we didn't really have a problem. Like, Jamal Murray had a pretty good series, but, like, he wasn't, like, absolutely murdering us off those.
Yeah, they run so much through Jokic, it's
right,
not like a pick and roll based offense. They do run it, of course, but a lot of it is just Jokic making plays.
But, like, I don't know. I want these guys to show us they can't do something before everyone's just like, well, see, you can't play Kanter, you can't do him. You can't do this. Like, if they would have been playing him and he would have been hard hedging or trapping those pick and rolls and Curry was still abusing them, then maybe you could say, okay, it's just not working with Kanter. But, like, he's just dropping. Like, so what is he supposed to do? Like, that's obviously what he's being told to do. Otherwise, he wouldn't have played the whole fourth quarter if he was doing the opposite of what Stotts is telling him to do. Because you see that with, like, Nurkic and Kanter in the past. Myers Leonard, like, when they mess up on defense, that they're the only people that Stotts will actually chew out on the sidelines. So, like, he wouldn't have played him in the fourth quarter if he thought he was doing stuff wrong on defense, which leads me to believe that was our game plan and our scheme and all that stuff. So,
I mean, here's the thing. I don't understand why people think he's better at dropping than hedging. Here's what you do on a hedge. You run up with the screener. The screener stops to set the screen. Instead of stopping with them, you run up an extra couple steps and you hedge. And you make sure there's not a gap there where they can split, right? Compared to when he drops, he has, like, guys coming off for open threes, which then he's supposed to try and contest, and Steph Curry's just hitting him with hesitations, and he's biting on him, and then Steph Curry blows by him and just has a completely wide open lane without a center. Or he's dropping and having a guard with a head of steam going right at him, and he's really struggled in those situations. Like, why do people think he's better at dropping than hedging? Like, we haven't seen him hedge, Like, we haven't seen that. We don't know how good or bad he is at it, but, like, hypothetically, like, Kanter can run an extra couple steps in time to get out there and hedge and then run back to his guy. Like, I'd have probably more confidence in him doing that than him, like, on an island after the guard comes off the screen and like is stepping into a three and can like go downhill at him and either pull up from three or hit him with the hezzy, get him to bite and blow by him, or if it's more of a slasher, like a slashing point guard, I don't want athletic guys like a John Wall going downhill at him that has can get around him and score. Like Cantor dropping off the pick and roll is just completely on his heels and has no mobility. Like he's just a statue. He's statuesque. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why that's the better scheme for him.
And Cantor works. We talked about this. Against some teams, it's good. Like the Lakers game, we got away with it because they run a lot of pick and roll with LeBron and Anthony Davis, who they can shoot the ball, but they're not necessarily looking for a 3-point shot off the screen. They're looking to get to the rim. So, but like the times he got in trouble in that game was he was several steps behind the pick, so you can't let LeBron get ahead of steam before he gets to you, right?
But also in that game, Melo wasn't playing. He had like better help in the front court. Right. He was normally paired up with Derrick Jones Jr., who got a couple big blocks helping Cantor out, or he was paired up with Robert Covington. So he had the help necessarily to like kind of shore up that side of the ball. That's why I go back to like you can't play Cantor with Melo. And it's not even Melo necessarily playing bad defense. It's just Melo is not a good defensive enough player to be able to help Cantor out. Yeah, Cantor, if he's going to be in the game, needs a 4 who can help him out defensively. Like that's just facts. Like, and I think it's obvious at this point.
And if Melo's in the game, he should be playing with like a Giles or something who is more active and can compensate for some of that. Exactly. But the times where Cantor played up on the pick in that game, he played well, and he didn't let LeBron get downhill and stuff. It was fine. So like against certain teams, Cantor is the right person to play. But against Golden State, you need active guys who can run around the court and react to trapping or hedging and then get back to their man or recover. And then you need guys on the back end of the rotation to be completely solid as well. But like we've seen this for years, we don't know how to rotate properly. We have the wrong guy helping, like you pointed out. And when you have Dame and CJ like over helping on the backside, and then you have Melo and Cantor also in the game, and then Anthony Simons or whatever, like I don't know how you were supposed to expect us to get any stops at all in the fourth quarter of that game when all those things were happening together. And once again, it's not any one of their fault. It's just like I just don't understand why you would look at that combination and think, oh, it would be good to slow Steph Curry down in this fourth quarter. Let's run this lineup out there. This will really get him.
I agree on that. Let's go to Melo. He had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 for 8 from the field, 2 for 7 from the 3-point line. I like that he didn't force stuff out of the post. He did the one shot he missed out of the post. He took it strong and probably should have gotten a foul called, but there wasn't one called. The refs were definitely not in our favor in this game, you know what I mean? The refs were actually pretty bad in my opinion. We didn't lose because of them, so that's why I haven't even brought them up, but they definitely were not consistent in terms of their calls. But I mean, 7 out of 8 shots or threes, 2 for 7. You'd hope Melo would shoot 3 for 7, but I thought offensively, he didn't force much. He didn't stagnate the offense much. He didn't he passed out of the post when he couldn't get a good shot. The way he played offensively, I was fine with.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll bring this up now. Yeah. So I charted every single one of his post-ups today. Mm-hmm. So he had 3 in the first quarter. All 3 times, not a single player even took a step. They didn't even move. So ball goes in. All 4 players just stand there, watch him. Nothing. No back screen, no cut to the basket, nothing, right? So second quarter, he had 1 post-up. Simons moved after he passed him the ball, but it wasn't a cut. He just ran to the other side of the court so Melo could have that
relocated,
side to operate. The other 3 guys just stood there. So once again, nothing, no movement, nothing. Fourth quarter, he didn't play the third quarter. Fourth quarter, he had 1 post up. Again, not one person moved. Yeah. So out of 5 post up in this game, 1 person moved out of 20 possible people that could have moved. And that was just to clear the floor for him on the other side. So once again, why are we running an offense where we post someone up, and that's obviously the design on that play is to post up Melo? Why are we just having an offense okay, Melo, here's the ball. You take a shot. It's time. It's your turn to score. I don't get that. And I don't get how that helps his legacy. I don't get how that helps our team win games. I don't get how, like, even Melo can't see that there's more efficient ways to get him involved. We saw that a little bit at the end. He got a few threes off towards the end, and he hits a couple, and like it was much better. But like I just don't understand why we post him up and don't run some sort of action to take advantage of the defensive attention that gets. We're just like, okay, it's time for Melo to get a shot, and that's like, I don't care what we promised him. I guarantee you Melo would be fine if he scored the same amount of points on less shots and was shooting all threes or getting to the basket more or running off some cuts and getting the ball in a different situation other than just post-ups. Like, it wasn't like we promised him 5 post touches a game, and if he doesn't get those, he's going to be unhappy. That's not how any player operates. Anyone would love to get run off screens and get okay, here's a 3-point opportunity for you off 2 screens or something, and if it's not there, curl off it and you'll have a lay-in or a dunk or whatever. And I just don't understand how the people are saying, like, oh, we made these promises to these people and we're not putting them in the best position to honor those promises. So it makes no sense that you would use that as an excuse as to why we're doing these things. Well, we're not even getting him a chance to like make the right pass or do anything. It's really frustrating. And I'm not saying that he would necessarily do that. I don't know, because I'm not seeing any opportunities for him to actually pass out of those situations. It's super frustrating.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't really have any complaints from, the way he played tonight. Like, he didn't force shots out of the post when nobody was moving. And, yeah, people need to move, cut more, have more off-ball action. He can generally make the right pass. Sometimes he tries some fancy cross-court pass that gets picked off here and there. But overall, like, he can make a solid pass out of the post. And, yeah, like, but guys weren't cutting. And instead of, like, forcing looks, he kicked the ball out when he couldn't get a good shot, instead of settling for that like contested 16-foot fadeaway that he's shooting like 25% on this year. So yeah, no complaints from the way he played. Would have liked for him to maybe make a couple more of those threes, but overall just the style of basketball he played tonight was completely fine in my book.
We missed a $2 donation from Max Buckley. He says, y'all both wrong. Run Nurk at the 4 and Cantor at the 5. Yeah, that's what we're missing tonight.
Yeah.
I know you're joking.
We need to get slower. We need to get slower out there, right? Yeah, I mean, but Nurkic would be able to help Cantor out protecting the rim, at least in that, and it might be better than Melo and Cantor. Just Melo doesn't, he's not a rim protector. He can't really help as like a secondary rim protector or anything, and that's what Cantor needs next to him. That's why Cantor worked so well in the playoffs next to Zach Collins. So like, shoot, I'd even be curious to see like Cantor and Giles, because Giles could provide that, and I feel like Giles has the skills to play the 4 and the foot speed to play the 4. So yeah. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk quickly about Gary Trent Jr. It was 3 for 11 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, 7 points. Did not shoot the ball well tonight.
Yeah, he really struggled shooting. Unfortunately, yeah, his timing was probably off a little bit from missing some games. But yeah, he had a rough game. I thought he played well individual defense on Curry. It's just a problem that we have with anyone who guards the ball handler is our action off once that person guarding him gets screened. We have no clue what to do. So that's not necessarily the person getting screened fault, but he's not good at getting through screens either. But like in the situations where he was ISO'd one-on-one with Steph, I thought he played just about as well as you could have. It's just the problem is, when he gets picked, he doesn't really have a chance to defend well, primarily because we're dropping the guy and not giving him a chance to recover. But he's got to shoot better if he's going to help contribute. Unfortunately, you'd think he can contribute on the defensive end, but like our defense in general is crap tonight, so no one really helped on that end.
I mean, but he's still a positive defender, so he can still make an impact that way. And he had a nice he had a nice pass at one point in this game where he drove and shoveled the ball off to Cantor. Like his off the dribble stuff is a little better this year, so hopefully that continues to grow. And he'll have off shooting nights like this, especially when he can't really get clean looks. He didn't really get wide open looks or anything.
That's my other problem though. Like we just have our guys stand there. They're not like doing anything to get clean looks.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, we gotta move players.
That's the
more.
frustrating part.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't we running him off picks? Like, why aren't we using him like a JJ Redick off ball if he's that good of a shooter? Like, I don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yep, I agree on that. Let's move on to Nurkic, which people are like divided on him. Like, you got a lot of ridiculous stuff being said about Nurkic right now by people, even in this chat and in the fan base. People got relax on him. No, he's not like Whiteside. Anybody who think I heard somebody compare him to Whiteside in the chat. Anybody who thinks he's like Whiteside is just absolutely. I don't know, man. I don't want to be too harsh, but bro, like Nurkic is struggling to finish right now. Right, defensively, he had some good plays. He got a couple plays where he just like absolutely got blown by and had some like bad defensive possessions, but he had some good defensive possessions as well. He had 2 steals, 2 blocks on Steph. Like, he's inconsistent right now. At the start of this game, he finished well. I think at least 2 of his 3 field goals came very early in the first quarter. So, like, you see little flashes of the old Nurk. He's just not there, and you have to remember he's still like hasn't even played. I think by now he's played 21 games since breaking his leg. Like, it takes a while for guys to like get comfortable after that type of stuff. You know what I mean? It seems like he's flipping up shots in traffic that he should be maybe passing out, and it seems like when he could get a good shot off around and he should just take it to the rim, he is passing out. You know what I mean? So like, there's inconsistencies with his decision making. Maybe that's rust and whatnot. Maybe his conditioning isn't all the way there. But Nurkic will be fine. We've seen enough in Nurkic to know who he is. He's not like what we want right now, but he'll be fine. He'll get better.
Yeah, I think he made his first 3 shots, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because and then missed his next 7, which is tough.
He's just like flipping up shots without almost even looking at the rim. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, okay, it's not laziness. It's not like lack of trying or whatever. But he seems like he's. Like, all his movements, his body language, like, everything just seems, like, sulky, and he's a bit, like, slow to react, and it's causing his foot speed to go down because he's not there mentally. But, like, you can tell he wants to be. Like, he's trying. It's just, like, something's just not off basket. Like he's doing a lot of the things that are normal Nurk stuff, but, like, they're just not quick enough, or he's like too lumbering with it. He's thinking about them too much. And yeah, it's like, I don't know if it's all mental or what, because obviously physical conditioning has been an issue that's been brought up as well. But
it's probably a combination of both.
He just needs one of those games, you know, where he gets like 20 and 20 or something, and like, and I feel like he'd be fine. But like, if he continues to struggle, it might be a situation where we can't continue to play him big minutes until he gets better mentally and can figure things out.
Yeah, I feel like he overachieves considering the situation in the bubble, and that raised people's expectations a little too high for him coming off this injury.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, things will click for him at some point this season mentally. I fully 100% believe that, and then everybody will love him again, right? He is just not fully there, and it's probably a combination both of, you know, something mental and with his conditioning. But like, this isn't who like Nurkic is, so everybody says, man, he's like Whiteside, he's worse than Whiteside, man. Nurkic actually sucks, man, but you guys won't say he sucks because you guys are biased. Like, bro, like, he's not playing well right now. He's inconsistent, but it'll improve, you know? It'll definitely improve.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, don't give up on Nurk, and those saying like we need to get rid of him, he's the problem. Like, yes, he has contributed, but that won't. We need Nurkic if we're going to be a good team, and we need him to be a good player.
If anything, that would help him right now is just positive vibes from the fan base, because he pays attention to what the fan base says. If you want him to play better, don't be so negative towards him on social media and stuff, because I bet you he reads some of it. Give him positive vibes, give him encouragement, man. That'll be what helps him. So let's move on to Robert Covington.
Shout out to People's Mix. He had a Canadian $2.79 donation. Suggests running Mello with Nurk and Cantor with Rocco. Which we've talked about doing that a little bit more, but
Mello with Nurk. Oh yeah, I thought you said all 4 of those. I thought you were saying all 4 of those together. I was like,
no,
wait,
like
what?
Cantor,
yeah.
when Rocco's in
Definitely.
the game, and Nurk when the I definitely agree. We need to mix it up a little bit.
Definitely. I hope Stotts reads social media Portlandia. Maybe he might get a good idea from somewhere, from one of those stupid fans out there that think they know basketball. So moving on to Robert Covington. 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 for 4 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3. We got to get this guy more shots. There's no reason he shouldn't be able to get more open threes up. But, for whatever reason, we can't get him open threes, which I think speaks to, how stagnant things were and how iso ball heavy things were. You know what I mean? If we move the ball, he should be able to get pretty consistently open. The thing is, guys still run out at him hard, and he's shown that he can make the extra pass, right? So he can be a cog in the offense that moves the ball well. But, yeah, it's just he played 27 minutes tonight, only shot 2 threes, only shot 4 shots, I don't think that's not him being aggressive. He's just not getting good looks, and he's not a guy that's going to force his own.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, both him and the next guy we'll get to had bad games tonight.
Why do you think Covington had a bad game?
He just didn't really impact the game very much, and even defensively, he got burnt a lot. But once again, Covington's not the type of guy who can guard a guy like Steph Curry. He's better on bigger guys and guys who he's better as more of an off-ball guy. His on-ball defense is fine, but and that's not a knock on him. Almost anyone would struggle guarding Curry, especially on a night like tonight. But I just feel like, I don't know, it was probably just the foul trouble and stuff, but he didn't really have a huge impact on this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he played fine. I agree on he didn't have a huge impact, but I don't think he played bad. I wouldn't say he played bad. He hit both his threes he took. And the thing is, against this guy like Steph, that's not really the types of guys he excels against. He played great defense on Anthony Davis. He's more of a forward, and going up against a point guard can be rough, especially when Steph has it going and whatnot, and you have no help on screens, and we're letting Steph get comfortable because of the way we're scheming against him and that type of thing. I thought he was fine tonight. Derrick Jones Jr. had 5 fouls, only played 17 minutes, only had 3 points, was 1 for 2 from the field, missed his only 3. Just non-impactful game from him tonight. Part of it was due to foul trouble. He had some silly fouls. Hopefully he can clean that up a little bit. He is a bit foul prone, I feel like. But I mean, this guy's not going to do anything offensively if you just park him in the corner. If you gotta get him out, you gotta get him out in transition. You gotta use him as a cutter. You gotta have some design lobs for him. Maybe utilize him as a pick and roll ball handler, see what that looks like. I mean, he's not really great with the ball, but just to get him involved, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just we don't have him involved in the offense, and it's the way I feel about Rocco. When we run an ISO heavy offense like we did tonight, our forwards don't get involved, and people look at him and be like, wow, man, he only had 3 points. Wow, Rocco only had 6 points. That's what we got this guy for. It's not because of them. It's just because of the way things are functioning as a whole out there on the court, and it's not due to those guys. So, yeah, I would like to try and utilize him a little bit more and try and get in transition a little bit more to use him as a run out threat, because it seems like we're not really even trying to run at all. Did we run at all this game? Did we have a single fast break? I can't remember a single time where we had a run out. So yeah, I mean, I want him to defend well. If he defends well, I'm happy. I would like to utilize him better offensively though as well.
Yeah, just we're doing what I was worried about, and that's forcing him into that Mina role where he just stands there, and I don't like it. We need some sort of action to get him going, because I guarantee this is another guy. If you get him a dunk or a lob early in a game, that could really affect things, and that guy will get jacked up, and he'll play better defense, and not that the defense was horrible, but guys like that, when they get involved in the offense, play better overall. And when you just hide him in the corner and he doesn't even get a shot from there, he just stands there and doesn't even touch the ball for 10 straight possessions on offense. Those kind of guys, it's hard to get completely invested in a game when you're not being used at all.
Yep, I agree with that. Last guy that played was Anthony Simons. Had 5 points, 2 for 4 from the field. He hit 1 out of his 3 threes. He also had a nice driving left-handed dunk. He played all right. You know, he didn't really make any mistakes, and that's the thing. Like for Anthony, I want to see improvement in areas. I feel like I've seen some improvement. He had a bad shooting game last game, so if you look at, and a lot of that was in garbage time. You know, where the offense was just completely messed up, and he was just having to jack up shots while we were up. You know, we were actually up, so that was nice. But yeah, so like if you look at his field goal percentage last game in garbage time heavily affects it. Oh, he's only shooting 29%. I don't think that's really indicative of anything. I feel like I've seen solid improvement, and one of the areas I've seen improvement is just like he's not really making as many mistakes offensively. He's not making as many mistakes defensively. He's playing sound basketball. He's not having a huge impact or anything, but he's coming in there providing spot minutes without hurting the team.
Yeah, I'm kind of pleased with Anthony's minutes. My expectations for him this season aren't super high. Just come in and do your job when you're in. He had 1 3. I forgot how much we were down, but it felt like it would have been a huge momentum boost if it went in. It hit like back rim, so it was just it was really close. But overall, I feel like I'm getting better vibes from him overall than last year, especially towards the middle and into the season when he was really struggling. He's just got to continue to play well in the minutes he gets. And I don't know if he'll be in part of the rotation once everyone's back and fully healthy. But yeah.
Yep. So that wraps up the individual players from this game, and that pretty much wraps up this post-game show.
I'll tell you about something.
Yeah, what happened?
So let me read you this tweet.
Oh, boy.
It is from Dwight James. He posts a video of all of Steph Curry's 62 points versus the Blazers, a new career high and an unbelievable performance. And he says, "Okay, show me the blitzes, please."
Let's go, bro.
Yes.
That's the best thing that's happened tonight. Let's go, Dwight.
Thanks to Belgian Blazers for pointing that out to me.
Bro, y'all better go like that. That was a tweet. Yeah. Go like that.
So yeah, you can watch all 62 of his points, and I'm waiting for someone to point me out all the times we doubled him, and yep.
Yeah, where's the blitz of the pick and roll, man?
Thank you for following up on that, Dwight. I like that. He asks tough questions.
That's what we need more from our media members.
He doesn't let Stotts off the hook, and then he goes on social media and posts the video and is like, "Okay, show me." Like, if you said, let me watch film with you. Okay, coach.
Yeah.
Show him where it happened.
Gotta tell him I appreciate him holding this crap accountable. Because he's really the only one who does. Hopefully, he rubs off on Chad Newing or something, man. I mean, yeah. I've been trying to I've been trying to say this, and I've been called an idiot and all sorts of stuff for trying to point this stuff out. Hopefully, now people are realizing, oh wait, yeah, it wasn't just injuries 100% last season. Because yikes.
Really, Westbrook.
What?
He had a $2 dono. He says, "Who do you guys think is cuter, Oubre or Derrick Jones Jr.?"
Why? Is that how we're gonna wrap up this stream?
I don't know.
Neither. Me. You. I don't know. I don't care. Appreciate the dono though. How about I just say you're cuter than both of them, Westbrook? Would that make you happy? Would is that a proper showing of my appreciation for the donation? Hopefully you're satisfied with that answer. But that's gonna wrap up this post game show. We'll be live tomorrow with Blazers Uprise Live. I'm 1 for 3. Like, last stream didn't lag out at all, so I don't know. The first 2 streams I had problems with lag and whatnot, and last stream I did by myself. Eric wasn't able to be there for that one and had no lag issues. So hopefully, those first 2 times were just random coincidences, because the lag, we didn't lag out at all this post game stream, and I didn't lag out at all last post game stream, or the last Blazers Uprise Live episode. So I don't know. Sometimes the internet can be spotty, but hopefully Hopefully it's better tomorrow. We'll be live around 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on our secondary channel. You can find the link in the description box below. We always start off previewing the game and picking against the spread with our mods, and chat also can pick. Everybody just votes in chat, and out of the first 15 votes, whichever team has said the most is chat's pick, and we keep records all season long. I'll do a big giveaway for that at the end of the season if chat wins. If chat beats everybody, I'll do some huge giveaway or something. That's your guys' motivation for picking right. So it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't tuned in for one of those, go subscribe to Blazers Uprise Live. Link at the bottom. A link is below the video in the description box. We're almost at 1,000, so it'd be cool to hit 1,000 over there pretty soon on our secondary streaming channel. I will have the mailbag out tomorrow. I wanted to get it back on Monday, so I've just been saving that for Monday, just so we can get back on schedule with that. And that's pretty much all I got to plug. Anything you have left to point out or say or plug?
No, just people are asking when the next game is. It's Tuesday night at 7:30 against the Chicago Bulls.
Pretty much every other day for a while. Pretty constant. So quick turnarounds this season. A little bit more jam-packed schedule. It's nice after a loss. You can follow us on Twitter at ToryJonesYT. I just hit 1,000. That's pretty cool. You can follow Eric. Help him get to 1,000. He's at HoopsJock. The channel is at Blazers Uprise YT. All those links should also be in the description box below. And with that being said, that's a wrap for this game. Not the performance the Blazers wanted tonight, not the performance we wanted. Lots of issues in this one, but we'll always tell it how it is and point them out. And hopefully, I'll put on my optimist cap. Hopefully they can play some consistent basketball at some point this season instead of this roller coaster ride, because it's been a little bumpy to start. So anyway, that's a wrap for this post-game show. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Sunday night, and we will catch you tomorrow over on our secondary streaming channel. Until then, as always, peace out